The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, Gold members, and thank you very much for coming on today's call. I'm very excited. I got a great special guest for all of you today, and his name is George Lorimer. George has been a coaching member with us for many years, and is a great student. And if I had to put one word that described George, I would say implementer. You know, he just, everything that you give to him, he takes it and runs with it, tests it in his business, but he also implements and is a great implementer and very coachable type of coaching member. So with that, George, are you there?
Yeah, hey, Willie.
Thanks for being on today's call. Let me just introduce George real quick. George is with RE/MAX Solutions out of San Diego, California. He's got a lot of great background, as you can see here on the screen. Master's in business. Has done a great job in the real estate world with RE/MAX, top 100 RE/MAX agents. In 2014, I think you were in the top 50 out of 9,500 agents in the state of California. Have a beautiful family, your wife Lynn and your two daughters. But welcome to today's call, George.
Thanks for having me, Willie. Nice to be here.
So, George, what I wanted to do is just really get a little background for yourself, help some of our other coaching members, and just talk a little bit about how you got into real estate. And I know you've been in it for about 20 years, and why real estate?
Yeah, so when I was, in college, didn't know what I wanted to do, so I got my real estate license right after that. And, I loved it. When I first got into it, wasn't making a ton of money, but I liked the business, I liked the freedom. And so, I just kept improving, doing more, and I think the better I did, the more I liked it. And so I've been in it 20 years now, and gosh, I'm learning from you guys, every day.
Now, George, were you always with RE/MAX, or what company did you start with?
I started out with a local company, and I was with Prudential for a number of years, and I have been with RE/MAX since 1998. They're a great company, and I like our brokers, and it works well for me.
And how important would you say initially coming into the business? Because, we do have some coaching members that we have some that are new in the business, and actually I started in the coaching program 6 months into the business. And then we have also some coaching members that have been in the business for over 20 years. How important would you say that coaching and the training that you receive from coaching has helped your business?
Oh, incredibly. It's like after having done it for so many years, you think of a way of doing it and you think your production's okay, and then you start meeting guys like you and some of the other coaches and people, and you just see their production is incredible. It opens your eyes to how much more there is. And really, maybe even working less and having more production and more profit than working on your own as a single agent, with having a team and having great training and coaching.
Well, it's funny, we talked about this in the past, and I know one of the big struggles that a lot of agents have is getting leads, right, and actually having enough leads to call on. And one of the things that we've seen in our program is that, you have to really invest back not only your time, but also your resources to generate and grow your business. And you're one that has been able to track your numbers very well over the years. You're always looking for a really good, positive return on investment. And I know that there's many different lead generators that are out there that you've used in the past, some that have worked, some that haven't worked as well. And I thought maybe you can share with us, let's say, the top 5 lead generation pillars that you use in your business. And I guess, starting off with listings, what would you say is your top listing generator?
Yeah, so, I think mail's still very big, just sending a postal mail out with the right message to market, to media match. And, you send out a postcard or a every door direct type of postcard to get the cost down on it. And I have a certain zip code that I work real consistently, and I get 2 to 3 listings a month just off of that one system.
Okay, so direct mail being one of them. And mostly postcards? Do you send anything else other than postcards?
Mostly postcards, and then I do 2 separate type of mailings. I do, if it's an area that has a high owner occupancy, then I use every door direct because, maybe 80 or 90% of the homeowners live in the property. but I have another farm that has a lot of absentee owners, so there are a lot of rental properties, condominiums people use. So on that, I send to the absentee owners. And so that's a direct mail with a bulk mail rate, and I have a unique selling proposition, a USP on top. Your condo sold or I'll buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we show the history of success on, recent sales we've had at, in 5 days or at 102% asking price. So we have a really specific message. It's branded. The call to action is call me and start packing. And that works out very well. So direct mail, I would say on the listing side, still works very well.
And do you use any type of testimonials with those direct mail pieces?
I do, yeah. I trade off. A lot of times I have a property shot, and it'll say, I'll have the details of it, sold at 102% asking price in 5 days. Then the other one I'm usually in front of a sign or a condo or a house, and I'm shaking hands with an owner with a sold sign. And I'll ask them to do a testimonial and maybe help them along. Instead of just saying, hey, George did a great job, I'll recommend him, I'll have them say something like, oh, George sold my home at 101.5% asking price after another agent had had it for 6 months, and George sold it in 19 days. So I have something with teeth on it on the testimonial and a picture of me and the person.
Okay. All right, great. And that's one of the things that we teach in our referral product that we have, our referral agent machine product, where we talked about testimonials and sending out direct mail pieces, because at the end of the day, people want to do business with who they know, like, and trust. And having that third-party endorsement, sending that direct mail piece out is one thing, but when you actually have an actual neighbor or someone in that zip code that actually used your services, it makes it definitely a much bigger impact for any type of prospective seller down the road to do business with you. Yeah,
I agree. I think a lot of the members have to have people actually calling them to talk to them about selling. That does take some branding. It takes some testimonials. And like Willie, you helped me a lot. Once we get an inquiry like for a CMA or something, then we brand it with the newsletter that you helped me do, and we send that to our past clients, our referrals, and also the people that have requested information from us, because they become a mini farm. They say the average CMA lead takes 11 months before they list their home. So if you do the CMA in a day and you call them, then they're not likely to do anything for almost a year. So then we put them on our drip campaign of both email and our basically a sphere of influence past client newsletter, so that they can get to know us. Plus it has a little bit about real estate, but stuff about us as well. And then you were talking about the testimonials, and the page you have online also has some videos on YouTube, some of our customers saying, we did a good job, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know when we were coaching and we were taking a look at a lot of your mailings that you were sending out, you did say after we added the testimonials to it how much more effective they were. You were getting a lot more phone calls from it. And I share with you, and I guess I'll share with everyone on today's call, some of you may have heard this in the past, but in 2013, July 2013, I did a case study in a neighborhood right across from my own neighborhood. I have a very small neighborhood in a cul-de-sac of only 17 homes, but just across the neighborhood there's 300 homes. And I was walking in there with my wife, and we were just talking about how there was a lot of other signs there, and none of my agents were really prospecting in that neighborhood or mailing out to that neighborhood. There was just all these other signs that were coming up. So I decided to use the same newsletter that George is talking about, and start, instead of sending those, I send those out to my clients every month, but I said, let me go ahead and just take that farm of 300 people and send that newsletter out to them. And in that newsletter, it has stuff about me, it has stuff about what's going on with my family, it has events that I go to, celebrities I meet, has a lot of different pictures, has information on what's going on in the marketplace. It has our unique selling proposition, things about our team. It even has a recipe for my wife. So you want to really have that personal touch. Having that recipe for my wife has always been a big hit. So we sent that out. I didn't really know how it was going to work. Ended up picking up a listing. Ended up sending a just listed, a just sold postcard out. And then all of a sudden, we got another listing. And then we did the same thing for that and repeated that over and over again. And over the course of 1 year, we had over 9 sales in that neighborhood for well over $100,000 in commissions. And the total
That's
investment
awesome.
on that to start, for the year, I should say, was $7,000 that we spent. And that was probably a little bit too much. I probably could have spent a little bit less than that. But the point being is I spent $7,000 for well over $100,000 return. That was like a 15 times return on investment. And it was because of the testimonial, because of the newsletter, and getting it out there. And I actually remember being on a listing appointment where I was competing against 2 other agents because it was a relocation. And they had to interview 3 agents. And I remember they interviewed the first 2 agents, and then I came in and was going through my listing presentation with them and starting to go through the screens. And a wife stopped me right in the middle of it and says, Willie, you don't have to go through all this. We're already going to go with you. And I said, okay. And I didn't argue with her. I closed my laptop, and I said, can I ask you why? And she says, well, we already interviewed the other 2 people, and one person was nice, but, we definitely feel like we know you more. And now I don't know these people from, I've never met these people in the past. And her husband, Bob, says, well, that picture that you had on your newsletter a couple months ago showed that you and your family in front of the Eiffel Tower. Here's the picture. And they showed me the same picture of their family in front of the Eiffel Tower, the same picture that I had in a newsletter. And they said, reminded us 8 years ago when we went to France and went to the Eiffel Tower, and was some really great memories. And there was other things that they brought up, and my wife's recipes and etc. But point being is that they felt that they already knew who I was. They knew who my family was. I identify with them. We had things in common. And this is the power that a lot of agents miss in today's marketplace, is that the majority of your listings, if you want to get listings, people are not going on to Zillow.com and typing in, give me someone to list my house with. Most of the business is going to come from 67% exactly from NAR says that seller leads come from repeat and referral business. And people do business with who they know, like, and trust. And I'll say that over 100 times. The newsletter is a great way to do that. And I know that's one of the things that, again, I've said this to hundreds and hundreds of coaching members over the years. And George picked right up on that, took it, ran with it. And as you just said, now you're not selling or sending a newsletter out to everyone in San Diego, but anyone that comes through and raises their hand that they're looking to list their home or possibly list their house in the near future, you're sending it out to your pipeline. And like you said, George, 11 months is how long it takes to get these people to convert to do business with you. When the time comes, you're going to be top of mind. So I just wanted to point that out. I know it's kind of a long explanation of that whole newsletter piece, but I can give you stories after stories after stories of how we've been able to convert seller and buyer prospects off that newsletter. So great stuff. So thank you for sharing that, George.
Yeah, and Willie, and two other things too. It's like, I'm sure the neighborhood, your neighborhood and the adjoining one, I'm sure it was higher than average price point, maybe double. And that's number one. And then number two is you can get higher than average fees if they know and like you and know that you're not chasing the business so much, and they don't see you as much as a commodity. If you have a unique selling proposition, you have a track record, and they know you and your family, it takes you from a stranger to somebody that they're calling to talk about their home sale, not interviewing 10 agents.
And that's a great point. NAR stats, again, throwing stats out there, but 66% of sellers only interview one agent. So I want to be that one agent, and the best way to do that is by getting in front of them before other agents get in front of them. And so many agents, are calling on for sale by owners, and they're calling on expireds, and that's all good, and all that does work. But what if you can get in front of people before anyone else knows about them? And you're right, George, you'll get the higher fees, you'll get the higher price ranges because you're not competing against other agents or discount brokers. So that's right. A great point that you mentioned there. All right, so that's number one, mailing. Number two?
Okay, so yeah, mailing postcards, and then, I would say that's it. And then number two on mailing is I do the newsletter to my sphere of influence and any prospect. So the first one was postcards. The second one was mailing to sphere of influence and past clients. Mm-hmm. Then the next one is, I use Success Website, and I have really good luck on doing some micro markets and the hot list, including foreclosures and distress sales. So I get about 400 leads per month. And successes are mainly buyer side leads, and they're real specific to a neighborhood. And that's been generating me quite a bit of leads. And, you know, they're probably 6 months to a year off. We just put one into escrow today we met 30 days ago. So we're starting to advertise a bit higher of a price point and really hyper local. So within a community, even within a zip code. And that's Facebook ads and success to the landing page and the IDX solution. So it's all done. All you got to do is call them, and that's working good.
Okay. Now you mentioned Facebook. Are you doing that, or you have someone else managing your Facebook account?
Yeah, I have Success website does it for me, and then also I make tweaks too, because I don't think you can ever just give up, you know, authority for them to do all of it, because I think you have to see what's working. And you know, when I first started, before I learned it, it was too general. It was, you know, San Diego hot list of foreclosures and vacant homes, and it's too big of an area. And when you get the lead, you know, it's too low of a price. So we did a zip code. We put a bunch of qualifiers in, said no investors, starting at $550,000. The average price in that area is about $750,000. So a little bit under the average, but we were able to put all those qualifiers in, and so it got us a better quality of client. And by marketing that way, we're hoping that we get a move-up buyer, so we get a listing side at maybe, you know, 400, and they buy something 550 to 750.
I like those price ranges. Up here in upstate New York, our average sales price is just over $200,000. So it's nice to be in San Diego, George, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. It's a good price range. So I do that with, so that's Success website. I use them, and then I've been using Bold Leads for and they do Facebook CMA type of leads by the zip. And it's basically unbranded. It goes to a landing page. You know, they request a CMA. It shows their house as a map of it as an overview. And then, you know, again, those people are on average about 11 months off out of 100, maybe 5 are going to do something soon. And you know, maybe 10 to 15% will never do anything. So that 80% is really the follow-up, you know, where the money's made.
Right, and we talk about that all the time, right? You're now a business, you're going to have 10% of your leads that come through are looking now, want to buy now, and those are great, and that's where everyone is going after. But because we find them so early in the sales process, 80% of those leads that do come are down the road leads, and so many agents discount those leads because maybe someone doesn't call them back, or they're not given the proper phone number or information, that they're dead leads or junk leads, such as Zillow, Trulia, Google pay-per-click. But the reality is that a lot of them are hiding behind their computer, and because they're so ahead of the buying or selling process, that right now they're in that informational gathering stage. And that's why it's so important, George, how you said that once you capture their information, now you're educating with your newsletters. I know you do certain videos that you send out to educate them on the selling process. And let's face it, our best client is going to be the educated client. And if you're educating them along the way, or if you have a series of videos and mailings and information that you're giving to them on a monthly basis, they're taking all this stuff in, and you're educating on the process. So when the time comes for them to actually put their home on the market, you're going to be right there top of mind with them and be the only choice for them to really call and really trust.
Right.
So good stuff on there. So explain to me now, those are your 5, those are the 5 top lead generators for you then? Was there any others?
Right. Well, in addition to, you know, Bold Leads, I use another CMA type of service, the Prime Seller Leads, and I like their back end, their lookup, and, you know, I consistently run that both Google and Facebook, and, you know, they're just another farm that we get a CMA Zillow type of request, and we just follow up with them.
Okay.
And
right.
And we just launched, Willie, some of the Commissions Inc., which I know a lot of members have had success with. So we'll see how that works out too. That's new.
Yeah, and those are primarily the Commission Inc. leads. Most of them are buyer leads, but a lot of them are seller leads as well. But majority of them are buyer leads, and a lot of those buyers have home to sell, so they become you know, seller prospects as well. So looking at this list, there are tons and tons of names that you get, and I know on a monthly basis, how many leads on average would you say that you generate?
About 400 right now.
All right, so you got about 400 leads, and that's not really counting your existing COI, and that's also an additional calls that you have there. So let me find out, what is your best strategy for follow-up, because this is where we talk about this all the time in coaching. The money's in the follow-up, and conversion is very important. We can all generate all these leads and get excited because we get these texts that come through Zillow, or we get these emails that come from the different search engines that are out there, people wanting information. But why is it that agents are generating 400 leads per month, but only closing a small percentage of that? And I know what the answer is the follow-up. And I know you have a great follow-up system that we actually worked on years ago. I remember us being in Los Angeles at that hotel, and we were talking about some of the struggles you had. You said, Willie, I just don't have time to make these phone calls, and I didn't have time to do the follow-up as much as I'd like to, and you were losing business. And we made a couple adjustments, and I thought maybe you can share some of the information about our conversation and what you've done to change that over to be effective in follow-up.
Right. Well, like everything else, it's still a work in progress, because as you get more leads, then you need to follow up more. And I wanted to mention something to a lot of the members that aren't getting as many leads, or really just going after those listing leads and not getting them. I think it's so important to realize whatever lead source you have, if you can advertise a move-up buyer, that'll give you a great opportunity to show that person, whatever they're looking to buy. And then, oh yeah, by the way, once you get into it with them, you can talk to them about listing their home when they're at that stage, because everybody wants to rent their home to buy their move-up property. But at the end of the day, most people can't afford to do so. They need either the income qualification or the down payment from the sale of their current home. But if you go after it directly that way, it's like on the universal follow-up script. If you make the right offer, which 9 out of 10 of the people looking at a move-up will always want the buyer list, not the CMA immediately.
Right.
So I think it's a good idea that if, a lot of our members are looking to, to get some more business, think of areas where there's move-up buyers and think of that as an opportunity to start showing them a few homes and, oh, by the way, get in on listing their home when they are ready, because that's a big thing, and the guaranteed sale has helped me on that, or whatever kind of guarantee they want to do, or a USP. That'll help them get in the door.
All right, great advice.
Yeah, but to answer your other question about the follow-up stuff, so, most of the top teams and the people that I've seen that are really successful, they call people a lot. So, I mean, we're talking like 5 to 6 calls within the first, 48 hours of the lead coming in, and trying to call them within 5 minutes and not leaving messages on any of these times. So you can see there's a ton of calls. So what you and I talked about, Willie, with the coaching, in addition to the referral, the newsletter, we also talked about doing some, virtual help on the callers so that they could hop on, they could start calling quickly, they could be a safety net in addition to me and the agents that work with me of getting those leads. And so, I mean, I go into some of the leads and I'm amazed, Willie, within like 4 or 5 days, there's 10 dial attempts on a lead. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I get surprised when I see it, and we don't leave messages, and we still don't convert leads as well. So then I look at that universal business autopsy and I go, okay, well, maybe we're not calling people as quick as we can within 5 minutes when the lead comes in. Maybe, we're not getting as deep into the script once we do get a hold of them to set an appointment. So, like I told you, it's a work in progress, but what I did on the lead flow was I hired some virtual assistants to make the calls. They're here out of the U.S., and then they log in on Top Producer that imports the leads, and they call the new ones as they come in, and just 3 times the first day, 3 times the next day, and once a day each day after that.
Okay. And
so calling more has helped.
Yeah, definitely. And having a system, though, right? Having a system is very important. And I think before, we've seen the stats that are out there where 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact.
Right.
And so many agents only call once or twice, and they throw the lead away because they're off to the next new lead that's out there. So what's really the system that you have on there? I mean, when do you give up on these leads?
So if we get somebody with a really bad attitude, we'll give up on it. If, I was just listening to a coaching call, and they talked about, hey, if somebody tells you they're not interested in moving, and then Craig or James or one of them said, hey, if you if you were to move, when might that be? And if you get the same answer a couple times into the question, then you probably know they aren't motivated. And we move them to a dead lead, and we keep them as an email type of follow-up. If they're a real jerk, we may delete them or mark them to unsubscribed on everything. But generally, we keep calling until we get a hold of them, and we move them from a new, and then once we've talked to them one time, I think, Willie, it's pretty easy when you talk to leads a number of times. Once you get a hold of them, it's pretty quick to know if they'll be doing something now or later. And one thing, we were having so many of the follow-up calls that we're putting the ones that we actually need, that have said, yeah, do call me in 2 months, I'm doing this, my husband's retiring and we're thinking of moving at that point. So we call in half the time. And if we've got a call that they actually want us to call them back at a certain time, we'll put that on the calendar so it doesn't get messed up with the other leads.
Right.
And so we can differentiate between, hey, this is actually a lead that's asked us, and we code them, seller A if they're a seller lead. So we do coding. We put specific callback times on good prospects in the calendar instead of just a to-do or call list, so that we for sure do those. And then I've got a couple of good people that work with me that I know if the lead's very good, I want them staying on it, and I don't want them to have too many of them or the junk leads. And you can kind of see, Willie, from the different sources what a good lead is. Like, we've been having good luck on Zillow. So on Zillow leads, they seem to be pretty good and want to go out and look at homes.
Yeah, Zillow leads, I mean, let's face it, I mean, they have a monopoly right now on a lot of the buyer leads that are out there, but they do a good job, and they're just like anything else. You have to follow them up, but the quality is pretty good on that. And, like, just to point out something that you mentioned before, in our office and when I'm dealing with our inside salespeople, there's 3 things that need to happen when you're calling that lead. Obviously, you have to do as many attempts as you can to make the contact. And like you said, you're making several contacts or dials out there in order to get that contact. But the 3 things, you're either going to book that appointment because they're looking to, they're now business and they're looking to sell now or they're looking to buy now. 2, put a follow-up date there. So like you mentioned, if they're looking 4 months down the road, then you're going to put a follow-up for 2 months down the road and half the time.
Right.
And or 3 is delete them, get rid of them. If they're like you said, if they're bad attitudes or people that you don't want to deal with, you have 400 leads coming in a month. Well, why deal with all this garbage that's out there? Don't work with them. Work with the people that you want to work with. So that's great stuff, and I know you've done a great job doing that. And I also know that one of the dilemmas also that you had was with time and time management. And we talked about, you were out there working with so many different buyers and showing sometimes, 10, 15 houses. You're trying to do listings and do everything together and obviously be a great father and a husband and trying to make everything work. And you were getting a little bit stressed out because you knew you can go to the next level. And we talked about the use of showing agents, right? And not going out there and showing all these buyers and really making you target it more on listings and cherry picking the best leads and really focusing on the listing side and then using showing agents instead of buyer agents on your team. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, about a week ago, I spoke to you on one of our coaching calls, and you said, where are you going? And I said, I'm going to a closing.
Yes.
It was $1,275,000. And you said, oh, cool. So what was the source and stuff? And I said, oh, it was a referral. And I said, but I never met the people. He said, really? And I said, no, I've never met them. I'm going to meet them the first time when I give them the key. And years ago, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, Willie was telling me, because I was showing people, and thing is, on the buyer side, there's a real good profit to be made. There's no expenses. They buy pretty quickly if they're motivated. Problem is, you have to spend a lot of time with them, and if you've got a number of transactions and appointments, it's tough. And if somebody comes in from out of town and you show them 2 or 3 days, it's exhausting, and you don't get maybe to the other leads that you need to. So Willie said, why don't you do this? Why don't you have a showing agent? You pay them an hourly fee, and they're licensed. They have their own lockbox. They have their own car. and then you can pay a bonus or not pay a bonus, but then they're just an hourly person that does the showings for you, and then when the client's ready, you guys write the offer. And so we took that and ran with it, and I mean, it's been awesome. And we pay $20 an hour here in San Diego, and I've had a number of different ones. They usually want to move up and do their own thing because they see the commissions, but you know, you probably want an S type of personality for that type of position, and that works out really well. So yeah, thanks, Willie. That was awesome, and that's given me so much time to do stuff, and it's a great profit margin for me.
Yeah, and that was, you know, again, learning by, you know, looking at some of the challenges that I faced in the past. So many times when we get these leads, right, we pay a lot of money to generate these 400 leads a month. We're paying people to make the phone calls. We're booking the appointment, and then giving it over to an agent who might only show them 4 or 5 houses, close on a deal, and the next thing you know, you're giving a 50-50 split to that person. The return on investment is just not there. The margins have become smaller and smaller over the years, and you just can't afford that type of comp plan to a lot of these buyer agents. So, you know, handing over a check, and you know, you have an agent making more than you are on it, and that's what I was looking at myself, where I was paying, say, on a $10,000 commission, giving that agent $5,000. I was taking $5,000, but I was also paying all the expenses, all the overhead, all the lead gen, and everything else that went with it. So putting a showing agent in place definitely made a big difference in my business for the bottom line. I know it's making a huge difference in your business. And I mean, that's thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, George, that you've put to your bottom line by implementing that showing system.
Yeah, and you know, you'll find the right person. You know, when I suggest it to people and I tell them what we're doing, you know, everybody says, well, don't they want part of the commission? And then you look at how many people show and what the average agent sells, you know, 3 or 4 homes a year in our town, and at $20 an hour, you know, we're talking, you know, quite a bit of hours as an independent contractor, and it just seems worth it for them to do that. And by the way, they can still do their own business at a 50-50 split on their own deals. And
Absolutely.
so it just seems like and it's a good way. A lot of agents like that. People that do our open houses, they like to have those extra hours, and a lot of agents like showing homes. And so, and we've been having good success on getting the VIP buyer agreement signed as well, so that we get a little bit higher commission, and we're able to use some of that for the hourly that we pay.
That's great. That's great. Well, congratulations, and I'm glad that that's worked out for you. And I know that you're continuing to build that up more and more, and especially with Commissions Inc. now, you're going to be able to generate a lot more buyer leads, need more showing agents, and just more money to the bottom line, and that's what it's all about. So great stuff there. All right, so time management. You know, I know it's something that it's, you know, there's never that perfect week that's out there. But if you had the perfect week, and you can kind of give me some information on the day in the life of George Lorimer in San Diego, what would you say is your perfect week, and how do you effectively control your time management?
Yeah, so first thing I do is, you know, I have one of those calendars that you block them out by the week. So I put 3 calling days in that I call for a couple hours at a time on Saturday morning, on Tuesday evening, and on Thursday evening. So in addition to when the leads come in, I put that in my calendar and I make those calls. So that's a big thing. Then I do training, Willie. A lot of the training, I still am on probably 3 of the calls a week.
Okay.
You know, with the coaching.
Yeah, coaching calls.
Yeah, and so that's kind of a big thing. People get really surprised because they think, oh, you know, I've done it for a while. I know my stuff. I mean, it seems like we have to do it, and also the agents have to do it each and every week to stay on it. So I do that. So I put all those in my calendar. I usually get to work about 8:30. I go over any of the leads that have come in. I give them out to my agents. I follow up on the calls. Typically, I have training usually in the mornings for like an hour or so. Then I have lunch, and I typically go on any sort of, I don't really do many showing appointments, but I might have certain appointments that I have to go on. And then in the evenings, generally, I either call or go on a face-to-face listing appointment.
And that's in the afternoon usually, right?
Yeah, like afternoon or evening. Doesn't really. I usually don't get home until about 7, and then I generally work Saturday, a half a day. The calls, like I had one of my callers schedule an appointment for Saturday at 11, and that's usually during my calling time from 9 to noon. So here's the thing, Willie. I have to qualify that one on Thursday or Friday and see if they're actually going to be listing with me. So I'll actually either, if it's just a CMA appointment, I'll give it to one of my team members or cancel it, as opposed to going on it and hoping something might happen. I'll just, really take a hard look at it and see if the person's actually realistic on pricing prior to going out there. So that's a big thing. And another thing on my schedule that I've noticed is I try to get out of all the dumb things that I used to do, making a key, taking photos. We have a photographer that does that, walkthroughs, home inspections. So we have team members that do all of that. So, and, I want to go on and talk to the client, and, most of them are pretty nice and I like them, and I want to be with them more, but it's not the most effective use of the time. Like if you can't, change the outcome, don't go on the appointment and delegate it. And so that's been one thing that, as every appointment comes up, I've been taking it off of my schedule and sticking more to my own of what I know will, grow the business, make more money, get more closed sales. And it's, it takes some discipline, but I'm getting better at doing it.
Right, and we talked about years ago, just getting into time management. Like you said, you being around, and there were times that you were driving an hour across town, an hour back, and spending a lot of time. Yeah. And one thing that I remember having a conversation with you about is having you focus on the high dollar productivity items, right, or
right.
activities. And the 4 that I mentioned, number 1 is prospecting, and you're doing that Tuesday, Thursday, and also on Saturday mornings from 9 to 12. Number 2, focusing on listings, being out there. You're going to be the best person to list for your team. You're the face of the brand. Not of Remax, but of your brand, which is the George Lorimer team. So going out there and cherry picking and getting those best listings is number 2. Number 3, working with buyers and having that buyer pillar. So not only you work with buyers initially, making appointments, but then giving them over to your showing agent so that you're not burning all your time showing on properties, but you're able to be there when it counts initially, but also when it comes time, number 4 here is negotiating. And I know that's something that you're very strong on, George, because you know your market. And that's what let's face it, that's what sellers are hiring you for, and that's what buyers are hiring you for, is that they want you to negotiate the best deal for them. So that's where we get paid the big bucks, prospecting, listings, buyers, and negotiations. Other than that, everything else could be delegated.
Right. And here's one thing that a lot of agents don't understand is negotiating for your sellers might mean having them take an offer that you think is a little bit less, because it's more important to sell the home than at what price you think it might sell for.
Right.
You got to look at reality of what's in the market, and negotiating for your client might be getting them the deal that's on the table. And the success is getting it sold, not necessarily at a price that you or I or the seller thinks it should sell for. Going with reality, what's actually happening in the market.
All right, well, great stuff. Well, thank you very much for that. Anything else on time management before we go off that topic?
Time management, maybe just, don't be such a slave to your text or your cell phone, and just let it go to voicemail, and, have some assistants help you out, maybe checking the email, or only check it a couple times a day so that you don't do that whole back and forth all day and, go do this. And especially if you have a tough time saying no, if you answered the phone all the time and you got customers requesting stuff from you, you might have a tough time saying no. So it might be good to insulate yourself, focus on what you have to do, and then visit that, before lunch or in the later afternoon.
All right, great stuff, great advice, and I definitely took down a couple pages of notes here just on our conversation from today. All right, so I know we got a little bit of time left, and I wanted to touch base on a couple different things. One of the products that I came up with a few months back is the Ultimate Referral Agent. And basically it's the referral agent machine, a 3-step profitable real estate agent transformation system is what we called. And we rolled it out in January, and Craig and I wanted to put something together because all the coaching members that I've dealt with over the years, I've always given them stuff like my newsletter, my postcards, my scripts, my initial letters that go out to our client database, different things on client events, and the list goes on and on. But there's so much great content that I put it all together and put it all into this really affordable product here called the Referral Agent Machine. And I thought, George, I know a lot of the stuff that's in that product you've used over the years, and I thought maybe you could just touch base on a few things that you're currently using and that has worked very effectively for you.
Yeah, I think whether agents are new into both coaching or new to the real estate business, you already know people, and you already know people from past businesses. So so what you help me with is get the people that you already know, whether they're a sphere of influence, past clients, that kind of thing. They need to know you're in the business. You need to start making connections with them. And, that's really helped. So like we talked about the newsletter, making up with my team, going through and putting who they know, and so that they can start on their sphere of influence so that those people can connect with them. And here's the thing, Willie, when you're newer in the business or you haven't reached out to your sphere of influence or past clients, you may not be the customer's first choice. But if you can be in there and be a plan B, or maybe not in this neighborhood, but I got another condo that I'm thinking of selling, we always would jump at that opportunity to get our foot in the door, even if it's not our favorite property, or, we would just go with whatever opportunity was there on whoever we met. So I've been able to use to write down everybody I know, and then the past clients, and then I've been sending the sphere of influence and the newsletter, the referral newsletter, to them, and then after a while they forget the other agent they had, and you become their natural choice, because the power of it is that they've got you, what a great person you are, your family, if you're giving some charity, and they've got your USP, your service guarantees, then they've got the call to actions, a CMA, a hot list of homes. So it's like there'd be no reason that if they had any interest in either referring, buying, or selling real estate, that they wouldn't at least reach out to you to give you a chance to get in front of them. So I do. I use this with both my team and with me, and we use it all the time, and it has allowed me to get, just off of the referral stuff, 2 to 3 listings a month without even thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know that a lot of agents that have purchased this product, like you just mentioned, especially the ones that have teams, have actually had their team members actually go through these modules, and it helped them set up their database and had them prospecting and really helped them build their business within their team. And let's face it, a lot of these team members that are out there, a lot of these teams that are out there, they rely so much on those 400 leads that the team leader generates that they're not doing any of their own prospecting. And so we've put together a compensation plan, George, where our team members could actually, like you mentioned, you're showing agents work for you. They show houses on an hourly basis. They get a bonus when it sells. But you also show them how to fish. You show them how to build their real estate business. And a lot of that's through their own COI, because that's their natural network, right? Going after those colder leads or the Zillow leads or the internet type leads, they're not going to do the follow-up like you do. They're not going to have those systems in place like you do. So why not go after that business? And it's like you said, it's easier business. And that's the natural way to go.
Yeah, that's the thing. So whether you're an individual agent or you're thinking of starting a team, it's a great thing to take out of the box and say to your team member, hey, start with module 1, look at it, go over, write the people that you know, and start contacting them. It gives people a plan of action, whether you're actually the team leader and the only person, or if you have people under you. It gives them something to go back to, and it should be where everybody starts with, because it's the easiest, most profitable business you're going to have is our referral business, and so many of us look beyond it. I don't want to beg for business. I don't want to, hey, I'm not, I haven't done enough sales to start asking business from people I know. But think of it this way. You know way more than anybody about real estate. You have access to the MLS. You've gone through the training. You're in the coaching program. You're going to be able to know infinitely more than that customer and just have the confidence to approach them and look to earn their business down the road, because that way nobody's going to say no to you if you start approaching sphere of influence, past clients, to start getting some referral business.
Exactly, and and that's what this product is geared towards is going after that referral business. NARS has out there some stats that 67% of agents' business comes from repeat and referral business. But the only way you're going to be able to get that is by, like you said, being intentional about it and having certain systems in place and have that be a major lead generation pillar for you. And that's what this product does. It actually sets that system and gives you everything that I've done in my business, I've shared with my coaching members over the years, and also do with my current agents. And I know one of the ideas that were in there that a lot of agents like is some like the client events, right, that we do for our customers, whether it be the pie events that we do in the fall. We have our golf tournament that we do every year that raises money for the local children's hospital. And I know that you've taken some different ideas over the years too that we've done, and you've come up with your own client event, George. Maybe you could touch base on what you do there.
Yeah, absolutely. So on August 9th, we're having it. We're in San Diego, so we're right on the bay here. And so we have our customers go on a hornblower bay cruise from 1 to 3 p.m. And, we invite all of our customers, our past customers. We usually get about 100 of my own customers, and our brokers are great at RE/MAX, so they do it office-wide. And so we get about 550 people on this boat. And so it's got a ton of synergy, and we buy people lays, we go out on it. We all get pictures with people. They see how my kids have grown every year. My wife and kids are there, and my team. And so it's an event that focuses, we're giving out something, so we're thanking people. But in addition to that, it gives us an opportunity to qualify our database again. Hey, are we still the ones if you were going to be referring some real estate to people? It lets us clean up, make sure we have their emails, their phone numbers. So we call all of them, we invite all of them. And even the ones that can't make it, they think of us, they thank us again, and it's terrific. And then we have the pie event come fall as well. But this is really the big one, our summer boat cruise on the harbor.
Well, that's awesome. And I know that again, it's all about deepening the relationships to your clients. And like you said, you get to qualify your database. They bring on new people to you. It makes you top of mind. But like you mentioned, you're giving them something. This is giving them a night out. Some people that come to our events say, my husband and I, we haven't been out in months, and it forced them, and they look forward towards coming to your event. One of our coaching members up in Rhode Island, Andy Savalakis, he did a comedy night, and he's been doing it now for about 6 years. And I went up to it this past year, and what an incredible event. I mean, he had over 100 people there, and they split it with his lender. I think it cost him about $1,500 each. But each and every year, he could track back the different sales that he made from that. And it's multiple times, just like I shared my case study with you before. But that client event is huge, and people look forward towards it. They appreciate it. And the whole law of reciprocity kicks in because, he's giving them back, a night out. They're getting a night of fun, comedy. They have drinks and some appetizers. It doesn't really cost them a lot of money. And it's a great event, and it's something that we talk about in this product, but it's also something that I know that you've done, and I know there's other agents that I coach that have done it as well. And the return on investment is always there, and it's fun, right, George? It's a lot better than cold calling and knocking on doors.
The people are nice, and then we tend to do things kind of big. Like I know boat cruise is kind of a big deal, and you may not be in the area, but what about we had another one that was a small one that we invite people from a certain zip code that we sell a lot, and we just have a brunch at El Torito, which is a Mexican restaurant. It's like 20 of us. We go to the table. My wife's there and kids. We all laugh and joke with people. They have champagne. Costs like, I don't know, 15 or 20 bucks a person. So for 20 people, that'd be around $400. And you have a blast. And so it doesn't have to be big. It's just a matter of inviting people, having fun, engaging from them. And then, Willie, you gave me this tip too, which worked really well, is we have a photographer and a videographer to do testimonials, or you can just use your iPhone or a flip. But just say, hey, you know, especially after they have champagne, they might be happy. So you could just ask them, hey, would you mind just saying a couple words about how great, you know, the experience was working with us? And so that provides your testimonials at the same time that, you know, you're having fun with your customers.
Yeah, it's perfect. And they always want to give, you know, everyone says, well, no one will want to do that. I think we're going about 100% right now. They all want to do it. Yeah. They all want to give you a great testimonial and help you out. Even though maybe, like you said, you don't want them to get too tipsy because you want to be able to use a video, but it definitely works. And we use it in our advertising. We use it in our marketing that we do through emails, but we also put it on our TV infomercial that we have. And it's very effective. So, all right, well, great stuff. I mean, we covered a ton of stuff on here, George, and I really appreciate your time today because I know that you're a very busy person and got a lot of different things to do. Is there anything else on this product, on the referral product, that you want to talk about of what you've done? I know we have both an online version, which we made very cheap. I mean, we have it at $197 on the website. If you go to agentreferralmachine.com, agentreferralmachine.com, you can actually go to this page here. And for $197, you can get the online version, or for $497, you can actually get the home study workbook, which gives you all the DVDs, CDs, all the material that we have. We have a reference CD where you can download all the Word documents. Here's what the online product looks like. We actually have 4 modules. So we have the page 1, the referral letter module, and you can go on there, listen to the webinar. They're about an hour each. And we have the PowerPoint presentation and webinar on there. But everything's here. You can download it in Word. You can download the PowerPoint of all the different things that we put on there as far as our brochures, our letters that we send out to our clients. We have on Module 2 is really getting down on how do you stay top of mind. So we have an endorsement letter, testimonials, the release forms, how to get those testimonials, sample newsletters for myself and my agents. We have on there my just listed and just sold postcards that we use that are very effective. Like George mentioned, you know, getting that newsletter out. But what happens when you actually list a property and sell a property? How do you get more business in those neighborhoods? Well, these just listed and just sold postcards are very, very effective. So you get those templates, and you also get a copy of my own newsletter. And I know that, like just this just sold postcard, I'll just bring it up real quick. You know, it's very clean, very direct, and people love it, and they've gotten a lot of benefit from using these. But here, you can see the testimonial tied in there. We have a book as a free giveaway. You could use a report if you don't have a book. And we also have, obviously, the call to action, which is to go to our website for a free market evaluation. And that postcard's worked very, very well for us over the years. But you get that part of this program, and you get the downloadable document for that. Number 3 is staying in touch with your COI. And you have the whole after close program that we have, client close plan that we have. So it's not only staying in touch with them during the process, but how do you stay top of mind with them after you sell them the property? And we have a whole system down for that. Our CMA summary report, price reduction scripts, everything is on there. And then number 4 is a bonus called our referral partner generator. And this is where we just did one recently last month, where we actually had a business networking business exchange, or business card exchange, I should say. And what we're doing is we keep building up our business directory because we want to be the hub to our clients, so that when they need a good roofer, or painter, you know, some type of a contractor to work on their home, we want them to call us or go to our online resource to get that information. So we show you how to set that up and go through and actually do your own business mixer event. And it's all prepared for you step by step in that this 4-module product. But so that online, you get this all online for a very low cost of only $197. Or again, you can get the binder and everything, the home study course, where you get everything online and the binder for $497. So again, that website is agentreferralmachine.com. Any last minute comments on that, George?
Well, it's a no-brainer, and you know, you should get it today. I mean, it's nothing. It's a tremendous value, and I'm sure you could get one of your referral partners to reimburse you a portion of it if you just do it. I mean, and let them share the success with you. So at that cost, either the $197 or having the package at $497, it's just an incredible deal, and it'll pay for itself many times over. And you know, it's a lot of stuff in there, so just start with one. Write down the people you know. Go have coffee with them. Start talking to them about it. It'll pay for itself instantly on the energy and the connections that you're going to make.
Yeah, that's great. And, you know, and the other thing is that Craig and I put a 12-month guarantee on there where if you don't feel that this is a product that was going to work for you within 12 months, or, you know, you applied some of the products and just didn't work for you, then send it back. We'll give you a full refund for the money that you spent for us by just sending the product back. But so far, we've sold over 40 units, and we haven't had one return yet because there's so much value in this package. And talking to other members and talking to the Diamond Group, which is our elite group with the Proctor system, people wanted to know why this was so low. They said it should be, you know, they would pay $2,500 for the same product. So it's $497.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, $497 or $197. Use it as a training tool. Use it for yourself to get your COI and your referral business up and running. Again, that website is agentreferralmachine.com. All right, so George, in closing, what's the vision for Mr. George Lorimer?
To continue to grow, to learn, to do more referrals. You know, that's pretty much it. To add some team members, do a little bit more accountability, because as you get bigger, you start spending more. You want to remain profitable. So that's really my vision, is take it day by day, keep improving, keep adding new OSAs and callers, and improve both the quality of my leads and the number of my leads and the conversion.
Well, that's awesome. And I know when we first started coaching and I first met you, I know you were doing somewhere, still very, very good production, somewhere around 12 million. You moved that over 15, and another year 20, and then 25 million. What's it looking like for you this year? What are you on pace to do this year, George?
Yeah, I think we'll be over 35 million this year.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, hey, pal, keep up the great work. It's an honor working with you and being able to you know, work side by side with you, and the fact that you implement all these different ideas and actually tweak them and even make them better is a huge asset, and definitely enjoy masterminding with you. And I know a lot of the people on this call today sure got a lot of value out of it as well. So looking forward to seeing you at the next conference. And with that,
right.
Have a great day, George, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Willie. Have a good one.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye now.